Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the president of Port and Free Zone Authority receives a Japanese delegation. For the international scene, Boris Johnson's Conservative Party emerges weakened from local elections. Welcome to our newsroom. The preparation of the COP15, which will be held in Côte d'Ivoire, is in full swing and will be an opportunity for the Republic of Djibouti and for all the countries of the United Nations Convention to combat desertification and drought, to find solutions and rehabilitation degraded lands in order to put in place urgent measures to reforest the land and forests. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, will take part alongside the head of state and government in these 15 sessions of the Conference of the Parties COP15 of the United Nations Convention to combat desertification, to be held from 9 to 20 May 2022. Several issues will be discussed at this high-level summit, a summit of head of state, roundtables, and interactive dialogue sessions. As well as many other side events. COP15 is a key moment in the fight against desertification, land degradation, and drought. It will be built on the finding of the second edition of the Global Land Outlook, offers a concrete response to the interconnected challenges and land degradation, climate change, and biodiversity loss as we enter the United Nations decade of land restoration. In an interview granted to our correspondent Samantha Saeed, the Ambassador Mohammed Burhan Ali told us that the organizations of the 15th Conference on Desertification and Drought is in fact the continuation of a commitment in the search for solution against land degradation. It will build on the findings of the second edition of the Global Land Outlook and offer a concrete response to the interconnected challenges and of land degradation, climate change, and biodiversity loss as we enter the United Nations decade of land restoration. The President of the Port and Free Zone Authority, Abubakar Umar Haddi, received today the DIFTZ strong delegations composed of Mr. Keiji Tomada, Vice President of the Japanese Ship Owners Association and the Director General of the Japanese Ship Owner Association. This meeting allowed to explore new avenue of cooperation in the field of maritime transport and related activities, including transshipment, in order to take concrete steps in these areas. The Japanese Ship Owners Association, with its 127 members, holds a significant share of the world fleet in terms of tonnage, with the launch of Ocean Network Express through joint ventures between NEK, Mitsui Lines, and Kai Lines. Japan is among the world's top 6 container carriers, with a combined fleet of 207 containers totaling 1.5 million tons and accounting for 6% of the global market share. On Thursday, 5 May 2022, Colonel Wais Omar Bogore, commander of the Djiboutian Coast Guard, had the pleasure to welcome in the lounge of honors of the Directorate General of the Coast Guard Administration for a courtesy visit two representatives of the Japanese Ship Owners Association. This meeting was an opportunity for a formal contact, and the commanders of the Coast Guard took this opportunity to explain to the delegation the missions of the Djiboutian Coast Guard and the leading role it plays in the field of security, national maritime safety, but also in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and the Gulf of Aden. The discussion is also focused on the assistance provided by the Japan to the Djiboutian Coast Guard, both in terms of equipment through the donations of a large patrol boat and through the training provided to the staff of the institution, which has helped it to develop the operational capacity of the Coast Guard. The courtesy visit ended with an exchange of gifts and photos immortalizing this unique occasion. The State High School of Djibouti hosted this morning the second day of the Djibouti Robotic Competition organized by the Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship. This national robotic competition is organized at the State High School by the General Management of the Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship. It is dedicated to students who have their usual homes in Djibouti in order to inspire them while promoting education in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. The opening ceremony of the second edition of the Djibouti Robotic Competition was presided over by the General Directors of the Clay Center, Ubah Ahmed Malo, the Deputy Director Abdul Karim Mohammed Hassan, the Director of Operations Sheikh Mohammed Abdallah, the principals of the high schools and the teacher of the different high schools. And this competition is composed of different parts, namely the techs, which are the college students, followed by the stars, which are the high school students, and finally the makers, which are the university students who will expose during this competition their project, which will be validated by a grand jury. The inauguration ceremony of the renovation project of the former Ethiopian embassy building was attended by Ahmed Shide, Minister of Finance of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Ms. Engineer Aisha Mohammed, Minister of Irrigation and Lowlands, Ambassador Birhanu Birtukan Ayano, Ministers of State of the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Ambassador Birhanu Sky, Ethiopian Ambassador to Djibouti, Engineer Jonas Ayalu, the Managing Directors of the Ethiopian Construction Work Corporation, guests and members of the Ethiopian community in Djibouti. In these opening remarks, Ethiopian Finance Minister Ahmed Shide congratulated the Ethiopian Embassy in Djibouti, the Ethiopian Construction Works Corporation, and other stakeholders for the successful completion of the renovation project, further establishing the historic structures as the physical embodiment of diplomatic relations between Ethiopia and Djibouti. The renovation of the Ethiopian construction works will set a precedent for other Ethiopian construction companies to engage in the construction industry of the neighboring countries. The medical hospital of Tajora hosted yesterday the launch of the several training sessions simultaneously on different teams where concerned different profiles and health actors involved in the fight against malnutrition. These trainings focus on exclusive breastfeeding from birth to 6 months, as well as the introductions of infant feeding, monitoring the nutritional status of pregnant and lactating women, launched under the supervision of the chief physicians of the health region of Tajora, Dr. Dimbio. The trainings related to the monitoring of the malnutrition status of pregnant and lactated women and the promotions of hygiene of young mothers are intended this time to demobilizing women who will in turn sensitize in the neighborhoods to the adoptions of healthy behavior to ensure better health to future mothers. In the first team event, Djibouti, which is in the group of Mauritius and Ethiopia, our players have demonstrated their games and fought, but did not come out the big winners. They finished 3 rounds, the third in the group and 5th in the overall rankings. As for our young female team, led by the captain Rahma Abdurrahman, installed in the center in France under the grand to miss the semi-finalists by 3-2 against the team from Mauritius. So we continue in the event simple. And we have a search notice the young Diriye Yusuf Hussein is missing, having not returned home since 8 day. Diriye is 8-year-old, is wanted by his families. People who have information are invited to contact their families, especially Hinda Muhammad Wais, as soon as possible on 775 15 and 50. For the international scene, in Libya, naked by Amnesty militia denies slanderous accusations. The Stability Support Authorities, a major armed group financed by the Libyan government, denied on Thursday the slanderous accusations made the day before the NGO Amnesty International about its alleged human rights violations. The group said it reserves the right to sue Amnesty International for the defamations and slander against the Libyan state and its official institutions, and assured in a statement that it will above all ensure the applications of Libyan law in respect of justice and human rights. Amnesty International had accused Wednesday this militia based in Tripoli of crimes and serious human violation rights with impunity. Denying these accusations, the SSA said it had a control body responsible for preventing any illegal actions by its members, playing it into the political and security chaos since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi regimes following a popular revolt supported by NATO in 2011. Libya is plagued by divisions and has had two rival governments since early March. And to close up this edition, Boris Johnson's Conservative Party weakens in local elections. The British Labour Party has reason to celebrate. It has just won some very symbolic victories in local elections in London. The Westminster Councils, which have been in Conservative hands since their creation in 1964, are in their hand, while the British opposition strengthened its hold in the capital. It made more limited gains outside London. The Conservatives are in sharp to decline, but the scandals have not led the much feared collapse for the first time since the revelations of the parties at the Prime Minister's residence during the confinement. Voters had the power to punish the government. The Conservatives have been in power for 12 years and are paying for their inactions in the face of sparing prices. And this is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.